We've got the latest WASDE report, the new numbers from the Ag Census, and so much more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Good Thursday afternoon, gents.
Welcome to the basement.
Yeah, it's that's where we hang out.
This cold dungeon.
At least it doesn't belong to our parents, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we got that going for us.
It doesn't have that musty smell.
That's right. You can tell the temperature is slowly dropping down here, though. The warmer it gets outside, the colder it gets in the meat locker.
Yep.
Speaking of, man, how about this weather?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I thought it was going to be cloudy all day, and then right before I came down, the sun started kind of peek out. Like,
yeah.
I brought my umbrella in this morning, but the temps. I went out, sat out on the deck last night for a little bit.
Did you?
And just kind of enjoyed the warm temps, and I don't know, man. You know, we talked about Groundhog Day a few weeks ago, and I saw one of the meteorologists here in town declare him being accurate from his purview. He said, I think the groundhog got it this time. I think we are officially headed into spring.
Okay.
Do you remember the accuracy percentage?
I don't.
34%.
34.
Right? Is that right?
It was either 34 or 39.
39.
So.
Yeah, it was right there.
What do you think's more accurate, the groundhog or you know how they do John Madden's video game for the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
The computers play each other?
Yeah.
You know, which one do you think's more accurate, the groundhog or
The Madden tech,
Madden, you
probably.
think so?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the groundhog doesn't take into statistics and athletic ability.
Oh, that's funny.
If you're going to start talking about that, then is it scripted or not?
Oh, that's a dark, deep state rabbit hole you want to go down.
Well, I will tell you, on more than one occasion this year, I have sent a text out, and I don't pay any attention to that. Just I'm where basically the comment you made, you know. Yeah. And but on more than one occasion this year, I've sent a text that said, "Boy, that doesn't help the NFL or scripted."
No.
Doubters.
Viewership of the NFL had gone down quite a bit over the years. So I'm sure they are incredibly happy with the celebrity status they have in some of their fans.
Yeah.
Now, so
yeah, it was an interesting year. We all talked about we didn't really have a preference on the Super Bowl. I will say I was probably a little surprised that Kansas City did win.
Yeah.
In overtime, right? There's your bait for the scripted crowd,
right?
But, anyway, back to the weather, man. I hope y'all are planning on doing something outside this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to Oaklawn. We're going to the Spa City.
It is a perfect horse races weekend, man.
Yeah. Oh, and I was in a local establishment picking up some clothes the other day, and the person behind the cash register, it was the first pretty day outside in weeks, and just small talk. I was like, man, sure is pretty outside today, and he turned around and looked at me and said, every day's a pretty day. I was like,
well, that's aggressive.
Amen. That stuck with me for a few days.
What did you get at the Colony Shop?
The Colony Shop.
Nice.
I was getting my clothes pressed, actually.
Oh, that's funny. That's every day's a pretty day.
So it's kind of changed my perspective on life a little bit.
That's a perspective you can have.
Small talk ended immediately after that comment.
I guess so.
That's funny. Are y'all going to do anything? You got any plans for the weekend?
They're starting to form just a little.
Yeah. You guys live on an outdoor activity. I mean,
yeah. And I'm sure we
So-
will be outdoors, but we're just coming back off a trip, so
yeah.
we're gonna try to figure something out.
Yeah. We didn't have our first outing planned for another month. And when I started seeing that forecast take shape, told Heather, I was like, we're going to go dig the camper out of storage and go enjoy some time outside. I mean, it looks to be a beautiful weekend, knock on wood. Ride some bikes and run around, let the dog get some sunshine, you know, the whole nine. But how was your trip, by the way?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was great.
Different than round one?
It was.
Okay.
It was. You know, it was practically the same exact trip.
Yeah.
Saw the same show.
Funny.
Saw you two at the same venue. Went to the Sphere.
Same songs.
And no, they changed it up.
Yeah.
Some went in the middle and better. But we stayed at the same hotel and, you know, walked around the same area. But it was less crowded this time and a little bit better weather.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot more relaxed for sure.
Yeah.
So,
well, you kind of felt like you probably been there. I mean, obviously you've been there before, but kind of like you know, kind of routine, I guess. You knew your way around.
Knew what to do. And, and, you know, we didn't waste a lot of time. We flew right in and went directly to the show. And,
was it Sunday? Did you go Sunday?
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
It was better seats. And
Did you eat some good food?
Yeah,
a little.
Yeah.
Is good food hard to find out there?
Had a little bit.
Okay.
I feel like you got to pay for it.
Well,
yes.
That's probably the better question, right?
Yeah, it all depends on what part of the area that you're in. But we had such little time there. You know, but it was fun. We enjoyed it, but yeah, I didn't spend my whole time on my phone like trying to document things or anything like that. I just took it in.
Yeah.
So it was good, really good.
If there's a song that you want to hear while you're there, would we know what that song was? A casual fan.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I always want to hear Where the Streets Have No Name. They always play that. You know, they just call it Streets.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's one of my favorites of theirs, a little lesser known, but it's off one of their later albums. It's called Peace on Earth.
Okay.
Beautiful song.
Okay.
They played it.
Oh, really?
Fantastic.
Is it one of those that they don't play very often or something like that?
It's not one that they typically play live. But man, talk about a song that speaks to our time.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And he had a whole dialogue with the crowd there before doing it. It was beautiful. It was really well done. But yeah, and The Edge sings part of it too.
Oh, really?
So it's very good.
Okay, I didn't know he did
Very
that.
good. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go look that song up. I'd like to hear that.
It's a great song.
I bet I can maybe find a performance.
How long were y'all there?
Just a couple of days. Yeah,
Well, that's fun.
They have a direct flight out there now?
they do.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah. I did direct with
Yeah.
with Southwest.
Southwest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it was good.
All right. Well, good deal. Good deal. Yeah. Anything else going on? Anything y'all seen? It's been kind of a busy week, honestly. I feel like.
I mean, we weren't here last week. I was in D.C.
But you did have a good deep dive.
Yeah.
With Jake.
Yeah, with Jake. I hope y'all enjoyed that.
I keep seeing news about that, by the way.
Our
The
deep
cattle, yes, the cattle inventory, the cattle numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, Arkansas Business reported yesterday that, and I apologize if I missed this in the deep dive, but the cattle inventory is the lowest it's been in 73, 75 years, over 70 years.
Yeah, what Jake has always kind of explained is that cattle inventory kind of goes into a roller coaster it's a cattle cycle, as they refer to it.
Oh, okay.
And we're in a downward part of that cycle. Inventory is a little lower. You're probably going to see a little better prices per head of cattle. You know, may see an increase in beef prices at the grocery store, though.
Sure.
I'm going to talk a little bit today on some of the export side of it, you know, to an extent. But, yeah, I mean, it'll come back. It always does.
Right. It
Same.
That takes time.
Yeah.
You can't just
you liquidate a
get a
bunch of
cow
your-
to market.
Yeah, you liquidate a bunch of your herd because of the drought the last 2 years. It just takes a while to. You can't just snap your finger and
you've got
a cattle
steer ready to go or whatever. Yeah. That's interesting.
So, and like you still need to make money, right? So buying and selling is incremental. You gotta stagger that to some extent.
Yeah.
You can't just go out and buy a whole new farm or a whole new herd.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Or create it.
Yeah. So go back and catch the deep dive from last week. If you didn't hear that, John and Jake talked about that.
If you enjoy listening to economists nerd out on statistical information.
That's the risk
for you.
But there is benefit there.
Yeah. Speaking of ICs, we had a listener from the state of Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Her name is Miss Michelle Williamson. So,
shout out Michelle.
Miss Michelle, thank you. She stopped me in the hotel lobby. Said, John, nice to meet you in person. I was like, oh.
So where were you for this?
We were in our issue advisory committee for
in D.C.
Yeah, American Farm Bureau in D.C. And I think it was the last day. She's actually on AFBS food safety or organics, food safety, and direct marketing issue committee. And she's been on it for a while. Or the last 4 years I've been going to the meetings, at least she's been on it.
So she's a farmer in Florida. Then.
Yes, she's a specialty crop farmer in Florida. I think she's more fruits. But if I'm wrong, Miss Michelle, send me an email.
And package it with some Florida oranges.
Yeah. If you need our address, I'll gladly give it to you.
Oh, me. Well, that's cool. So you're in D.C. Somebody stops you in the hotel lobby, says, "Hey, it's great to meet you."
Yeah, she's like, "How's the podcast going?"
Podcast.
I was like, "Oh, it's great."
How about that? That's pretty fun.
Yeah, thanks for listening. It's cool to know we have somebody from outside the state lines, Arkansas, listening.
State of Arkansas, yeah. I believe that also came up on the day we were talking about Groundhog Day. We were talking about if there's any listeners in Pennsylvania or out of state. So there you go. Just a couple of announcement type things before we get into the news. If you haven't seen it, the Arkansas Ag Department has opened up the Century Farms application for this year. You probably know all about that. If you're interested in the topic, then you probably know that you're close or you're there at that benchmark. If you're interested in applying, just know that the deadline is May 31st of this year.
Okay.
You can go to agriculture.arkansas.gov to find that application, to find the qualifications, to find other information you may need. And if the website for the Ag Department doesn't have what you need, then you can pick up the phone and call Beth Moore with questions. They've got her name, phone number, all that listed right there on their website.
Cool.
So, and then switching gears here to Farm Bureau, shout out to the folks who are getting involved in the Ag Leaders Program. If you've not heard about this, it's a new leadership program in 2024 that we here at Arkansas Farm Bureau are putting it on. I think the full name or the legal name, we'll say, is Arkansas Grassroots Leadership. We call it Ag Leaders for short. But yeah, this is really, I think what they're doing right now is having a series of regional kind of interest meetings, in my words, going on. There's been a couple so far, one in Hot Springs and one in Jonesboro. I got to go to the meeting in Jonesboro, and in those two meetings, they had representatives from 8 counties, I believe.
Really?
Folks interested. So, and this is for new leaders within Farm Bureau or people who are interested in getting into Farm Bureau leadership, whether that be at the county level or otherwise, can come in and sort of learn. These meetings here have been really structured around helping people understand the Farm Bureau Federation and what we do.
Yeah.
So each department has presented a bit about the work that they do and how they contribute to the overall well-being of the organization and things like that. It's been neat. There's more meetings to come. I know there's one scheduled for Brinkley, Fort Smith, Hope, Mountain View, and Harrison. If you're interested in this, there's some information on our Facebook page. Also, Jennifer Craig here at the state office is heading all this up, so she can answer questions for you. But it's a great opportunity to get involved, even if you just kind of want to dip your toe. These first meetings, I think, are sort of to see what the program's all about and see if you want to get in and stay involved.
Yeah,
so
I think it'd be a great thing to be a part of, especially learn more about the Federation. I think sometimes people have a better knowledge of the insurance company than they do us.
Sure. Yeah. Brian and I talk about that a lot. Let me see. Also, shout out to Brandon and Lauren Martin, our friends there in White County, for being named winners of the 2024 National Outstanding Young Farmers of the Year.
Congratulations.
It's a cool program. I believe the Peacocks were named for as winners in 2023. So Arkansans winning the National Outstanding Young Farmers of the Year category 2 years in a row. So that's cool. Also, some more information about that on the Facebook page if you're interested. And then the last thing I will talk about here before we get into the news is the internship program here at Arkansas Farm Bureau is officially open. I think we have 2 slots here, and one of those is a multi-departmental internship. They work with your team, with the government affairs team, and with O&P, right? So you got a slot there. And then the PR department has a slot open as well for that. Quick look at the qualifications. You got to be enrolled in an accredited Arkansas university or college. You need to be a junior level or higher, have a 3.0 GPA or higher. Yeah, I don't know that we would have qualified.
Are you saying you're out, John?
I'm just saying I didn't get a phone call.
I'm just saying it's a good thing he's an employee here and not looking for an internship.
There's not too many
here
things.
Before I wasn't the best student in college. At least the first few years.
There's not too many things that we read that you audibly
gasp
at. So
standards are high here, man.
Yeah, that's it. And you got to be pursuing a degree in ag, or an ag-related field, I should say. So
I will say we've had in the past, since I've been here, we've had some really good interns, pretty impressive people. So
yeah,
we have indeed fantastic interns, and we've actually hired some.
Yeah,
so
and some have gone. We've got one in Bozeman's office.
Was Matthew an intern?
Matthew was.
Shaylee was an intern on our team.
Indeed.
Senator Bozeman on the staff of the Republican committee or staff for the ag committee.
2 or 3 though, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, now that I'm thinking about that, Macy, who's been on the show, and a couple of others, Taylor maybe, and another. So anyway, lot of opportunity. And what I sort of say is real work. You're not going to get coffee for somebody or running copies on the printer.
I don't like sugar in my coffee.
You're
keep that in mind.
You've got an opportunity to get some hands-on experience if you join Farm Bureau for an internship.
I think the internship program in any organization is really good because that was one issue I had coming out of college or grad school was that. No offense to the programs that I was in, but real world experience and seeing what's out there is getting a foot in the door already before you jump into that career space is a huge advantage for people.
Understand if that's where you need to be. But I think the hands-on or a submersive sort of learning experience, whatever you want to call it, moves at like 5 times the pace as book learning, and it's on the job training.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we say all that to say, come join us, be a part of this.
Absolutely.
ARFB.com. Look at the careers section, I believe, for more information there. And we'd love to hear from you there. Not John and I. We don't make the hiring decisions there.
No. But if you make it, you'll see us probably.
The collective we. Yeah. All right. Well. Let's. You want to get into the news?
Yeah, go for it, man. I'll let you go first.
All right. We'll kick off this week with a bit of data from USDA. This is the February WASDE report. That report was released while we recorded our last regular show, and of course we took the week off last week. Like we said, had the deep dive. So let's circle back and play a little bit of catch up. While the January WASDE report had some big surprises, mostly centered around increases in U.S. production, the February report is quite boring. I hate to tell you that. Don't tune out. Don't go away. At least that's how American Farm Bureau economist Betty Resnick explained it. She said, or I should say, we've talked a lot about the Brazilian corn and soybean crops on this show in the past several months.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. And the WASDE report addresses some changes in that crop. So drought, high temps, things we've talked about have been the source of much speculation in that Brazilian soybean and corn crop. And the latest WASDE shows a decline of 1 million metric tons, or a 0.5 percentage point in soybeans. So not much change, but some change there. For the corn crop, the reduction was a bit larger. There was 3 million metric tons there, or nearly 2.5% compared to the January report. So a little bit of downward motion in Brazil there. An interesting note from Betty, though, she says Brazil is currently harvesting its soybeans and simultaneously planting its safrinha, or the second corn crop. I did not know this. That safrinha crop currently accounts for 75 or 80% of its annual corn production.
Really?
Yep. And where this gets interesting is over 7 million acres in Brazil were replanted this year.
Yeah.
And she believed that has the potential to eliminate the possibility of planting safrinha on those acres.
Okay.
So they had to replant some soybeans that may take that ground out of production on the corn side. So that's something to keep an eye on there. Now, I think the next thing we'll be looking at is that U.S. planting intentions report that will come out towards the end of March.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that because I've been hearing projections of 3 million acres of soybeans planted in the state.
Wow.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were almost to that point last year. We were at like 2.8 or 2.9. But it's kind of been speaking of soybeans particularly, is last 3 or 4 years, it's kind of been hovering around that line, higher, a little lower. So we'll see.
Well, I think your next story may have a little bit of an impact on what those acres do.
Yeah. So dicamba is back in the news.
Okay.
And if we'd have been here last week, I would have reported on this. So sorry if we're a little late here, but sure. As I reported, a federal judge in Arizona vacated the 2020 registrations of dicamba. This in turn no longer allowed farmers to use dicamba over the top over the top applications for soybeans and cotton. So, given the timing of the ruling and planting season fast approaching, this was a concern to many producers who had already purchased the chemical as well as those dicamba tolerant seeds. So there's a little bit of a financial risk here for a lot of producers, a lot of companies selling those products. So with that in mind, on February 14th, the EPA issued, quote unquote, an existing stocks order for dicamba products previously registered over the top use on dicamba tolerant cotton and soybeans specifically. This order authorizes the limited sale and distribution of products that are already in possession of growers or in the channels of trade and outside of the control of the chemical companies as of February 6th.
Okay.
So if it's after that point, you can't purchase or use it, if you don't already have it, or have it coming into the farm.
Inbound.
Yeah. EPA acknowledged that this order would help growers who already possess or already purchased over-the-top dicamba and dicamba-tolerant seed can use the product as planned for the 2024 growing season. The EPA also noted the importance of these products being applied according to the label to reduce off-site movement and protect human health as well as the environment. It will be interesting for me particularly to see what happens with dicamba before next year. This is a similar situation that happened 3 or 4 years ago, but the use of the chemical continued to proceed. But could this be the last time we see it used in row crop production? I don't know, but we'll see. As always, we'll continue to keep an eye on the situation, report back if anything changes. We probably won't hear anything until after planting season, maybe. Or again, they'll wait until right before next year's planting season. Because that's what they've done twice now.
Yeah, twice. Yeah. Well, at least the EPA had stepped in, I guess.
Yeah, there was
and kind of because we go back to that point. Planning decisions have been made.
Yeah,
I mean that's enormous.
You can't go back.
Yeah.
If you do, it's I should say financially you can't go back. It's not feasible.
Yeah.
But I should also say that Brandy Carroll put out a good Ag Insider on this. It should be on our website.
Great. Yep.
If not, most of you probably received it by email. She's got a little bit more detail. And in that article, she explains that Arkansas Farm Bureau, also with a bunch of other ag associations, wrote a letter to EPA kind of pushing for this move.
Asking for this.
Yeah. So that's out there. And like I said, we'll keep on going on. But let's take a short break and hear a bit about what a Farm Bureau membership can do in your community.
All right.
Your Arkansas Farm Bureau membership supports the work we do on behalf of Arkansas farmers, ranchers, and communities around the state. A $40 annual Farm Bureau membership makes a difference in your neighborhood. From youth leadership programs and academic scholarships to hunger relief and disaster support, you can make a difference and be a champion for your community. Join at arfb.com.
Next up, we'll share some news from Christina LaRue at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Christina has recapped the results of the latest Ag Census from USDA. Looking at the census data for Arkansas, the state is seeing a decreasing number of farms, but our production is up, and we've seen an increase in the use of renewable energy and internet access on farms across the state. The reduction in number of farms carries through on the national level and has been on the decline since 2017. Christina reports via USDA that the number of acres in U.S. farmland has also decreased over the last census. Mm-hmm. She quotes USDA Secretary Tom Vilsack as saying, "I'm concerned about the state of agriculture and food production in this country," end quote. Secretary Vilsack also noted that the survey showed most U.S. farmers require off-farm income in order to keep their farms working. Yeah. Turning our attention back to Arkansas, a data point that is likely not news to those farmers who listen to this show, while the number of farms in the state remains in decline, the size of the farms that do exist continues to go up. Christina reports that there were 38,000 farm operations in Arkansas in 2022, which is down 11% from 2017. The number of farms in Arkansas has steadily decreased in every census since 2007.
Yep.
In turn, the average farm size went up 11% to 363 acres on 13.7 million acres of farmland across the state in 2022. The average farm size in Arkansas has steadily increased in every census since 2007. So fewer farms, yet larger farms.
Yep.
An interesting note from the census, we saw a rise in the new and beginning farmers population in Arkansas.
That's good news.
Producers with 10 years of or less of farming experience qualify for this mark, so an increase there. Finally, family-owned farms accounted for 86% of all Arkansas farms and operated 58% of land in farms in 2022, which has decreased around 10% since 2017. I should note the census is conducted every 5 years. So if you wonder why we keep saying 2022, that's when the last census data was collected.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more in this report, including a lot of financial data for Arkansas and the U.S. We'll stop here for today, but you can certainly find the full report on USDA's website.
Yeah, those are interesting numbers, to say the least. And I think that's one thing I've been harping on for a while is the number of farmers are going down. Census proved that again. Our number of farms are going down. Like I said, the size of the farms going up. And that just tells you that these smaller farms are getting bought up by bigger individuals.
Concentration, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, see that in my home county is, the average size of a farm growing up maybe 1,000 acres. Now it's 3, and it's kind of tough to see, but also the age of a farmer is going up. I think it was 58, the average age of a farmer now, and last year it was 57.
Yeah.
So, but I'm pretty optimistic, that what she said there about new and beginning farmers, that number increasing. And, that I as a specialty crop enthusiast.
Yeah, sure.
I've always thought that was a really good area for new and beginning farmers to get into. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take a whole lot of capital comparatively to other style operations. We talked about that, I think, with Gary Madison.
Yeah.
In that interview.
Yeah, we did. I was on the phone with Jason Brown, which sounds funny, but the Jason Brown who spoke at convention this morning, and they're getting into sheep.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people
he talked. That's what I was kind of telling him. But one of their reasons is because the barriers lower for entry than cattle, than expanding on cattle. They grow quicker, like we were talking about with the cattle inventory
on an acre than you can.
Yeah, and that's another. If you specialty crop, you mentioned specialty crop as being sort of maybe a better place to enter. That farming market. And that's a good one too, especially if you're interested in more of the livestock or animal side.
Yeah.
So it's just
absolutely
interesting that topic came up just before we came down here. So.
Yeah. Well, I got one more story.
Okay.
So I feel like we don't talk about the pork industry enough.
That's a good point.
And I ran across this article yesterday, and I was like, boom, let's talk about some
Let's do it.
pork. All right. So this one comes out of AgriPulse, specifically about U.S. pork exports.
Okay.
And this is some good news. I like giving good news.
Heck yeah, man.
Can't tell. But according to USDA's Economic Research Service, or ERS, U.S. pork exports are projected to surpass that of the king U.S. poultry.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
No.
Yeah. So they're projected to surpass U.S. poultry exports by 2028 and will continue to grow at a fast pace through 2033.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. ERS claims efficiency gains in U.S. hog production and pork processing are expected to continue to enhance the sector's international competitiveness. In addition, European Union, or the EU, policies are expected to reduce growth of that region's pork exports, and the U.S. is projected to surpass the EU as the world's leading pork exporter in 2025.
Oh, wow.
So just a year from now. However, the poultry trade is projected to continue setting records throughout ERS's forecast period and could surpass 8 billion pounds by 2033.
Wow.
So even though the pork is projected to surpass it, chicken's still going up. They're not declining by any. Unfortunately, though, given the current downturn in the cattle cycle, beef exports could drop below the 8-year low projected in 2024. ERS expects a 5% decline in beef trade in 2025 before a gradual increase through 2031 as supplies to begin to rebound, kind of like what I was saying earlier, the cycle.
Yeah.
And they're kind of seeing this cycle to come back in the next, to turn back up in the next 5 years.
Interesting. Okay.
That's just kind of what I cherry picked out of there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
As for product availability here at home, increases in exports aren't expected to make an impact at all. So
really?
You won't see much of a difference in supplies here at home. Beef, poultry, and pork production are all expected to increase faster than exports. And ERS also projects per capita meat consumption in the U.S. to be higher in 2033 compared to this year.
Now that is interesting to me.
So production is what it is, but they still see demand to continue to increase.
Yeah.
In meat products.
The two things in here that came up at the A-State Agribusiness Conference is Prop 12.
Yeah.
And still seeing some potential for some decisions and implications coming out of Prop 12, especially around pork production here. But also the lab-grown meats market, and sort of a prediction that one of the speakers had there about that not a prediction, but an observation that is not going maybe as some folks thought it would. And I think this would reflect that. Seeing a meat consumption growth in 2033 versus now in 10 years,
Yeah. I mean, I'm biased, right? I'm going to eat meat. So, and I would agree with you. I never, not that I never, but trying to see, let's call it imitation meat products getting off the ground. I mean, they're still out there. People consume them.
Sure.
They're also expensive to manufacture and produce.
Yeah.
And if you're
which
concerned
means
about processed foods, that's exactly what that is. So
yeah. That's interesting.
Anyways, that's another rabbit hole.
Here we go on our soapbox. Watch out.
Listen to John rant.
Oh, me. Well, that's it for us. How about you?
Really, you're all wrapped up now.
These stories were actually shorter than they usually
They
are.
were.
We trimmed it back a tad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
How about that?
that's good. So I guess you guys are ready to play.
Yes, we are.
I look forward to it every week. As soon as this ends, immediately, I can't wait till next week.
You just want me to say it.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these times I'm going to read the questions to you like that. So
I just had an idea. Maybe Brian could record your outgoing voicemail
Oh, yeah?
in that voice.
In that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. I think
you're
that's
onto
the thing
something
that we
there.
should do.
We're going to have some fun.
I like it.
All right.
All right. I've taken it easy on you guys for a little while. So
I thought you were going to
I've
say
heard you say that
today.
before.
no,
Saying he has in the past.
Oh.
That's over, I think, is his point.
I should have listened.
what I'm trying to tell you is it's math o'clock.
Oh,
Man, I specifically said,
your
don't do
favorite.
this.
Your favorite.
I just don't process
Math.
information very quickly.
Math o'clock. Speaking of math, I've been trying to teach. I bought Marilyn a little clock for her bedroom, and little did I know that it only tells military time.
Oh.
That's what I get for buying the El Cheapo version. So I've been trying to teach her that. Minus 12 gets you to.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. I'll say that.
Take your time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see how you do.
Yeah. All right.
When my father was 31, I was 8.
Okay.
Now he is twice as old as me. How old am I?
What? He's twice as.
He's twice.
When my father was 31, I was 8. Now he's twice as old as me. How old am I?
31. I was 8. He's twice as old as me. Or 31. I was 8. He's twice as old as me.
So he wasn't
I'm not
twice as
picking it
old.
up.
He was he wasn't twice as old when he was 8.
Yeah. So 2.
I feel like this is a riddle.
It is a riddle.
Carry the one.
10, 21, 3. He's 23. So, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing none of that matters if I were guessing. He's twice as old as me. I don't know. I'm
16
in the towel. His dad is 16.
No, Dad. I thought you were how old am I now? So you're referring to the 8-year-old
Yeah,
kid,
exactly.
but you don't
And now-
say the question again.
Oh boy.
Say it. I have a thought.
When my father was 31, I was 8.
Yeah,
So 31 and 8.
yeah.
Now he's twice as old as me. Mm-hmm. How old am I?
But you don't know how old the kid is right now.
That's the point.
You're half his age.
Yeah,
Is that the answer?
No.
Okay.
yeah. He doesn't state how old he is. He just says when he was 31, I was 8.
Yeah.
So how can you answer the question when you?
Well,
don't
we're
have
about
enough-
to feel real silly.
Yeah.
The answer is 23.
So I said 23 is their age difference, but I didn't.
23 is not 23 is the age difference, but the age.
I'm not giving myself credit because I didn't put that.
I said
together.
16. I think that's pretty close.
So
didn't
at
do
age
the math
23, the father would be 46.
46.
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right. Well, we botched that.
well, given
put it
how
light-
painful
to put
that
it
one
light.
was, let's carry on, shall we?
That was painful.
How many 9s are there between 1 and 100? I told you we were going to have fun today.
Yeah, buddy.
Between 1 and
There's
100.
10 of
There's
them.
10. That's what I was going to say.
Wrongo.
9,
There's 20.
20.
20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 20. There's 29s.
Oh, the whole last set is 10.
What?
The 90s.
Oh,
There's 10 in there alone, and then there's the other 10. Yes.
That's a whole different number.
Yep.
All right.
I
That
should've been
makes
a lawyer.
sense. How many nines? I'm using that one.
Sally is 54 years old. Her mother is 80.
Here we are.
How many years ago was Sally's mother 3 times her age?
80 and 54.
Yeah.
So, all right. So there's 26. How many years ago was
Sally's mother 3 times her age?
All right.
Again.
Hold on. I'm gonna get this.
What? How many years? Is that what you said?
Correct.
So, I feel
46 years ago.
Very close. 41.
41. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking Sally needed to be 8 when her mother was 3 times her age.
I took the ACT 7 times. So,
all right, I'll stop there.
just
I had a really long one,
brutal.
but
That was brutal.
I figured as
Like,
much.
let me out of here. I'm physically uncomfortable.
Well,
That was pretty fun. I like a good brain stretching.
well, I do too.
I just don't like doing it in public.
The sphere inspired me. It's a mathematical wonder. There's so much
Yeah.
going on. I mean, I did record some stuff. I was recording all the technical stuff that was going on because it was
Yeah.
right below me, and it's just, all the things I do. I was just blown away.
That's
by
what
it
I
all.
was going to say.
So,
I don't know how,
it's phenomenal.
I'm a musician, and when I go watch a band, I've tried to explain this to my wife and my friends. Like, I see a band differently. Especially the drummer. I'm looking at that drummer very differently than I almost don't even see the whole show sometimes. As a producer, event producer, I hope that's the right terminology. I don't know how you go and enjoy yourself at that show.
It's
It's got to be sending your brain in so many
I
directions.
was seeing it from all different levels,
Yeah.
and it was so cool.
I think
But-
that's
yeah, but I would agree. The sphere is probably one of those engineering marvels of, what would you say, our time.
Oh, very much.
And
That's-
speaking of that, we were talking about engineering marvels like the Panama Canal. Like, have you actually seen a video of what the Panama Canal looks like? And then, like the elevation it picks up boats and then brings it back down the other side.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It
Really?
is.
So we're going to write an article about that coming up in Ag Insider. So check
Oh,
that out.
nice.
Yeah. Shameless plug.
There you go. Well, awesome. Well, that was a lot for this week. Mostly the end part where we got embarrassed.
I compared the sphere to the Panama Canal.
How about that? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, that wraps up the news for this week. Thanks for following along with the Arkansas Agcast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Remember, you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to audio versions wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. It really helps. The Arkansas Agcast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown.
And I'm John McMinn.
We'll see you next week.
Be bopping over here, man.